All right, everyone, welcome back. We got another episode of the Marketplace Maverick. I'm your host, John, and I got Sadiq with me today. Today, guys, we've done this a couple times before. I like to kind of highlight young entrepreneurs under 25. And Sadiq is 22 years old. He's been doing Amazon or entrepreneurship since he was 16. And what's going on, Sadiq?
And I appreciate you having me. I'm very excited for the conversation we're about to jump into.
Yeah, so, I started trying to do, a bit of a series with entrepreneurs, under 25 years old
Mhm.
because before I got into Amazon, I was one of the assholes that was like, "Oh, young people don't do anything. All they
Yeah.
do is sit around and they don't do anything because entrepreneurs in the late 90s, 2000, I'm dating myself here, to be an entrepreneur, it was Sadiq landscaping. And I have friends that were really young entrepreneurs, and everyone saw on their side of their truck Sadiq landscaping. And hey, look, Sadiq just bought 3 more trucks. Sadiq just bought 5 more trucks. And that was how you kind of saw what people were doing.
Yeah.
And nowadays, that's just not how it is. So I didn't know that until I realized that I was paying 25-year-olds to teach me how to sell on Amazon. And I was just, number one, first, I was stubborn because I was like, I'm not going to let some 25-year-old kid tell me how to do this. And then I realized I'm like, oh, I need a 25-year-old kid to show me how to do this because I
Yeah.
don't know what I'm doing. And I quickly was just so damn impressed with. Now, are there lazy 22-year-olds living in their mom's basement? I'm sure you could rip off a couple of names that are still living in their mom's basement, but it's
Absolutely.
no different from 1997 to now. There are lazy people and there are not so lazy people. I always say, in kind of in our atmosphere now, there are more opportunities to make money today than there was in 1997. It is harder to make money today than it was in 1997, but if you are an entrepreneur mindset, you have unlimited ways to make money. And I think that's the number one thing I've learned from being just in the Amazon space for the past year and a half, almost 2 years now. So first, we'll just kind of start a little bit of background to you. You are an OA guy now, but we're going to kind of more get into the other stuff you're doing. But give us a quick background of when you kind of started your entrepreneurship and selling on Amazon and just kind of what it's morphed into.
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So my name is Sadiq. I've been like you mentioned, I've been like trying to make money online since I was in eighth or ninth grade. I started off with like Amazon to eBay drop shipping. Like nobody's even, maybe a lot of people even haven't heard about that, but like that was like during the drop shipping era. I didn't want to make a product or whatever. I just picked up stuff that was like on Amazon's homepage. If it was like, trendy or like selling a lot, obviously I would literally just copy the listings. This is against TOS now, so don't do it. But yeah, I was literally just copying the listings and like all the descriptions and everything, selling it on eBay, trying to make a profit, and then just drop shipping it, putting in the customer's address. That way I don't pay for shipping and I make the spread after eBay fees or whatever. I was doing that in eighth grade, ninth grade. So like for 14 years old, maybe. Took a break from that because it was like started becoming a little bit less and less profitable. And then it's like they started tightening up the TOS a little bit. So didn't make any money there. But then I started like reselling candy and everything. So I was making a couple $100 a month there, eighth, ninth grade. Then in 10th grade during COVID, I got my first job ever at Papa John's. I worked there for 10 months. It was fun. I did it with my brother and my cousin as well. So like it was great. But what I really knew it was gonna like be helpful for was like getting me my first initial seed money to go do what I really wanted. My parents are very entrepreneurial, where like I knew I wanted to like make money on my own and do like things on my own and not have to go to Papa John's and work an 8 hour shift or do whatever. But it was during lockdown, it was during COVID. There wasn't anything else to do. So I'm like, all right, let me just build up the money now. Well, nothing else is happening. Right. So I got my first 10, 15K, initial money from there and basically just threw it all into sneaker reselling. And like that, and that was like the height of sneaker reselling during COVID. When I was 16 years old, I did 100K net profit in high school from like 16 to 18 years old in sneaker reselling. That started dying out just a little bit in like 2020, end of 2021, 2022, roughly. That's when I got into Amazon because I was talking to other, sneaker resellers. And I was like, what are you guys doing? Like, what are you guys up to? And then my friend Jack, who actually runs Dan Thousand Asins program, like he's the info guy on the back end. He's one of my best friends ever. And he introduced me to Amazon. Like this has way more volume, way more sellers. It's way easier. You don't have to fulfill every single individual unit like you would have to on eBay, StockX, Go, whatever. I'm like, all right, let me give it a try. And we just did it together with him and me and some other friends. And then, I mean, I just took it seriously and I got to 100K a month revenue within the first 12 months, and then 200K a month within like the first 18 months. And then right now we're hovering at like 400K roughly.
Wow. At what point did you really start, and it had to have been pretty early on, truly treating it like a business and not just doing it all yourself? You had to have done it pretty quick because that's a lot of sneakers.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, so I started in August of 2022. So like we're coming up on 4 year anniversary pretty soon. But from that August to I want to say that December, I was kind of just treating it as another marketplace. Like I wasn't fully like into it and like fully sold on Amazon of being like some like behemoth of a platform, which it obviously is. I was selling on StockX Go, eBay still, and I was treating it as a fourth marketplace. So maybe doing like 10, 15, 20K a month in revenue. Until that December, I had maybe like 20K in sales value worth of inventory at Amazon. Again, just treating it as another platform. And then I sold all of it in like a few days. And I'm like, oh my God, we might have something here. Where like that doesn't happen on these other marketplaces. Like it might take me a full month to sell through $20,000 worth of sales value of inventory, but I did it in a couple of days. Like I can probably find my sales screenshot somewhere of like a little bit of revenue, and then like 16 or 20K in like revenue in like a 3 4 day span, and then nothing for the rest of the month because I ran out of inventory. You know what I mean? So I was like, oh, shit, like we're gonna have to take this a little bit serious, and that's exactly what I did. So January of 2023 onwards is like, all right, I'm going to drop everything. I'm going to sell through all the other inventory of all the other marketplaces, start funneling this money back into, completely Amazon and scale from here. And then from that January to around April, I was stuck at like 25, 30K a month in revenue, got some business funding, got the Amex Plum card, if you guys are familiar, some 0% APR credit cards. And then I shortly got to around 60K a month in June or July of 2023. And that's when I got my first prep center. But it was at the point, and I have these pictures on Twitter or whatever. I was doing all of the prep and all the cardboard boxes and everything was in my sister's bedroom, taking up all of this space, and it was a disaster. I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna need a prep center. I'm spending way, way, way too much time prepping versus sourcing. And I know the second I do that, I'm gonna like scale like crazy. Because right now the bottleneck is how fast can I get the inventory out, not how good products I can source and how much money I have in the business. You know what I mean? Those are the two main constraints. And I was worrying about the third one of how fast I can prep inventory, which makes no sense, but I solved for that. And then 1 month after getting the prep center, I hit my first $100,000 month in August of 2023.
Wow. So you would say probably if people are thinking the first thing to outsource, I think, is your prep center.
For sure. 100%. Packing
Yeah.
inventory does not make you any more money.
No. Like the very first thing I did, and I think, obviously guys starting in high school, and the younger you are, probably the little longer you're going to prep. You can grab some of your boys, prep with them, stuff like that. I went to a prep center pretty quick because my two kids sure didn't want to prep. And
Yep.
I got sick of it real quick. And I learned, because I only did OA for about 6 months. I was terrible at it.
Yeah.
Terrible. It wasn't how my brain works. Like Miles will tell you, like,
Yeah.
one of my biggest like problems with getting into Amazon that I did not foresee was I thought I was okay with computer. I'm terrible with computer. It is still not my I have gotten infinitely better, but it's still not my strong point. So like
Yeah.
I had to spend like my first 3 weeks, like I didn't know how to convert something into a PDF. So like Miles is throwing me like all this stuff. And I was like, yeah, this is not Miles' job to show me how to put together a PDF. So I quickly learned, I'm like, I need to figure out things that give me more time. So like Prep Center was one of the first things I did. And then, then as you grew, you have, and we're not going to stick on OA for a ton of time today because we're going to get into your other things that you're doing that I think will help more wholesale in the brand direct crowd. But you put together like some really complex like SOPs and systems for your VAs, and you have made OA almost run itself with you overseeing it, which let me tell you guys, like systemizing brand direct, very simple. Super simple. I will probably be able to go to 300K with one lead VA. I have an ad agency and a graphic designer that is not even an employee of mine. So, but with OA, like a completely different animal, and was really the whole reason that I didn't keep pursuing it, because I think I went to about 40, 50K with OA, and I just knew, I was like, man, I can't put these systems. Not that I couldn't. I was like, I don't want to put the systems in to grow this OA. I'm just going to make the flip to like brand direct. It's where I'm comfortable anyways, talking with brands, making friends with people. It's a little bit more, I wouldn't say brick and mortar, but a little bit more traditional. And
Yeah,
for
for
someone
sure.
like me, it was like the perfect mix of like, okay, I can learn Amazon, I got to learn all that, but like Brand Direct has been able to bring in all of like when I was doing OA, there was just
Mhm.
no correlation to what I was doing before. It was completely different. When I got
Yep.
into Brand Direct, after I got used to it, I was finally able to bring in like my past sales experience, talking with owners. I was able to really get comfortable in what I was doing. But for you, you really put together a system. And, you know, I tried to tell people on here, and I'm pretty bullish about it.
Hmm.
If you're looking to, leave your day job, OA is a great way to start. And if it clicks for you and you want to put systems in and scale that, that's cool. Or do what I do, learn the ropes with the OA, and just kind of how Amazon works, move into wholesale. I am pretty bullish. I tell people that are like, "Hey, I got a job. I don't want to leave it. It's a great job. I want like a side hustle." And like to me, Amazon's not that. I don't think you could, but I always
I
tell
don't think
people,
so.
I'm like, you want a side hustle? Amazon influencer program. That's a side
Agreed.
hustle.
Agreed. Agreed. Agreed.
It's just your time and you don't put any money in. Oh, for the most part, you
For the
don't
most
have to
part,
make
yeah, yeah,
much.
yeah.
Yeah, you might have to buy a couple things here and there, but for the most part, you don't have to put your own money in. I was like, if I have to invest my own money,
Hmm.
like that's not a side hustle anymore. That becomes, or if you're an electrician, or I say like if you're a plumber and you want a side hustle, like you could go install two toilets on a weekend
Hmm.
and probably make that your side hustle. If you're
Yeah.
looking to leave your job, then you can start looking into Amazon and stuff like that. That's my opinion on it. I think you probably kind of share the same thing. It's just too much work for a
It
side hustle.
Yeah, it may be like I don't think so anymore. Like maybe back in the day when like there was a lot bigger brands open and it was a lot easier and a lot more plentiful where you can just run into like RA outlet, buy some like
All
Nike or
right, yeah.
Adidas and like make a couple grand a month. I feel like that was a lot more feasible. And nowadays where you have to get into like the smaller mid-tier brands where it's a lot harder, you have to actually have to be skillful. There's a lot more fierce competitors in those brands anyway because they've been around for a while because they have to adapt obviously. So it's a little bit different nowadays where it's like can you make it work for a side hustle if you really wanted to? Obviously, you can make anything work if you really, really, really want to. Are there better options? I think so personally. Like you mentioned with the Amazon influencer program, I highly recommend that. Like 100%. If you want a side thing, invest some time, review some products in your home, review some products elsewhere. Maybe as you start making some money, start investing in those products or whatever, right? But like that's after generating a couple hundred to a couple $1,000s a month. But at the absolute beginning, you don't need anything except for your cell phone, your time, and whatever's in your home already. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's a side hustle.
Yeah, for
That's a
sure.
side hustle. Amazon for me was not in any way, shape, or form a side hustle.
Nope.
And I tell people with Amazon, Amazon is not for life.
Nope.
You have your own way cooking pretty good on its own, but it
Yeah.
is not something for life. It is a stepping stone.
Agreed.
I tell guys, I said, I'm in a little different situation. I was like, I'm doing Amazon. I think brand direct is probably a little much more sustainable to do it a long time. But
Hmm.
even brand direct, I'm seeing it as it's a little bit more sellable than OA, but
Yeah.
nothing like a traditional business.
Agreed.
You know, so a guy like 1,000 ASINs, is that business worth money? Sure. If it
Yeah.
comes with a 20,000 square foot, warehouse that he owns and stuff like that, yeah, that can be a little bit more close to it. And you could sell off accounts, but even that is not a simple sell if you want to sell it off. It is about buying your time back. For me, it's about giving myself income now so I can buy more real estate. I like doing real estate. I
Yep.
love commercial real estate, and it's very cash intensive to do commercial real estate. And now you've kind of gone a different way. And I think, when talking to a lot of younger sellers on there, like 22 years old, you're in your 20s, like, no, it is time to hustle. Like
Yep.
it is time for you. And one of the best things, and I always tell people, they're like, why'd you go with Miles? Like when
Hmm.
you were doing, I called it YouTube University when I was like, because Miles was the only person in the space that wasn't driving around some stupid fucking car and
Yeah.
showing it in all of his pictures. And don't get me wrong, 22-year-old me, if I was making money on Amazon, I would have been one of those dipshits driving around an M5. Like I
Yeah.
am fully aware that I would have been one of those people. But when I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, I don't want that guy. I don't want that guy. They might be great guys, but like I want a little bit more. And I always tell Miles this with and it's a compliment. I want a nerd. Give me
Yeah.
someone that just like enjoys building wealth, enjoys like what he's doing, has the energy to do it, and wants to help people. I was like, that is, where, and I think you're also really close with Miles,
Yeah.
but like you remind me a lot of like Miles. Like you understand where you at your age. You understand, like, hey, I got no wife, I have no kids, I basically have no bills for the most part. Like, there's no one else relying on you to bring home money. So now is the time to hustle, take chances, and if you completely fall on your face, you can just rebuild it.
Yeah, for sure.
Like you can rebuild it. You can live pretty poor if you need to. So tell us a little bit about when you started to, because I think you're really starting to diversify yourself, not so much in like, oh, hey, I'm going to TikTok and I'm going to Walmart and I'm going there. No, you've kind of taken your Amazon, put it on autopilot as much as it can be, and you started getting into other spaces within e-commerce. And this is where I want young people to kind of listen to, where you built it and then it was time to open up the tunnel vision a little bit and start looking at, how do I want to grow like another business on top
Yeah.
of this business. So tell us a little bit about kind of the two other businesses that you're slowly starting. I don't even think you're really pushing them.
Yeah. No, that's a great point. And like going to the tunnel vision thing of what you're saying, that's exactly what it was for me. I was eyes forward, blinders up, not looking at anything else for 6 years. Like, don't let that get confused. I was doing reselling and arbitrage on, StockX Go, eBay, and Amazon for the last 6 years until I felt like I was extremely good at it and I had enough profits and I was generating enough revenue and profits on my own to start hiring employees, getting prep centers, paying for services, doing things where it's like it would buy my time back. And that was the end goal of Amazon, because a lot of the guys I looked up to coming up would be like obviously Miles of like stacking money away and everything. That's like one of my best friends. That's like the best mentor I could have ever asked for. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But there was also guys coming up like Soros Empire, who has like a team of like less than 10 employees, maybe like 8 at the moment. I talk to him every now and then, but he doesn't do anything. He calls himself like the financier or whatever, where he just like puts the money in and like handles payroll and whatever, and that's it. And I looked up to him extremely like heavily. I'm like, all right, he's doing that, and then he has like a sales company on the side, and he has like another one as well, like a private label. I'm like, all right, I kind of like that. Like, you're gonna be able to generate so much more money, and the way you get that is by leverage, because like there's only a couple types of leverage, but one of them are employees. Like, once you have employees that fully know what they're doing, they're gonna be happy because they're generating the salary. You're gonna create a good work environment for them. You're gonna align goals where they can hit their goals and dreams when you hit yours as well, and everyone's just happy. And like those guys wake up every single morning for me excited to work because they're working towards their goals while I'm working towards mine. Am I taking a little bit more risk? Yes, but I'm a business owner, so that's what I signed up for. And they
Yeah.
have like a very risk-free path to go make a bunch of money. So again, don't get that confused. Tunnel vision for like the first 6 years or whatever, or however long it takes you guys, right? But then as opportunities come up, as you have more money in the bank or more opportunities and you have your time back as well, I have a credit funding company as well. So I used to do Amazon online arbitrage coaching. I don't do it anymore. Miles is the best in the game. Go to him. He's the man, right? But I was like, all right, Amazon's like on autopilot. What other things can I do within my niche? I'm extremely well connected. I've done a ton of podcasts. I know a lot of guys. Like, what offer could I do? And not only like what offer could I build, but what business could I build as well that would allow me to have money in the bank? Because obviously Amazon, you have to reinvest a ton of money. It's very cash intensive, similar to the real estate you were just talking about, right? I think people say the same thing of like Amazon money's everywhere but your pockets. It's the same thing for real estate, right?
Yep.
So where could I, like, what business could I build where the money would be there and I can go invest it into, the market like Miles has? Or even when I was getting this apartment, it's like you just want a ton of money liquid where they can't even deny you. They can't even like, oh, well, your bank account was a little low this month. I'm like, yeah, it was December. I had $1 million in inventory. You know what I mean? It's like I just wanted something where it's like there would always be money in the bank, always money in the markets. I'm always well protected, and the money can actually sit there and not have to do anything else except for me go pour it into S&P 500 or the market or whatever other ventures I want to touch. So I'm like, all right, this is a service-based business where I help business owners who already are generating money, already know what they need to do to scale, and their only bottleneck in this business is capital. That's where I come in. I help like optimize the profile. I help them build like a custom sequence of like credit cards to apply for in which order to get the highest limit and the highest like approval odds as possible. And then I connect them with relationship managers as well, where the relationship manager will work with you to understand your business and then work with underwriting as well to try to get you approved as much as possible. and for a like crazy like high limit or a solid limit as well, so you can get the funds you need to scale your business even further. So that's the first company I have. And the second one is an AI agency. We basically just do custom builds for like medium to like large businesses, where we charge like 5 figures or whatever per project. But I have two cousins who are developers. One works at USPS for like the last like 11, 12 years. Giga nerd, like super nerd, extremely, extremely talented, right? And then I have another one around my age, which like if you're in the computer science major and you're graduating from high school or from college, it's tough, man. Like he's applied to hundreds of jobs. So I was like, all right, whatever, man. Let's just do business. And let's like he's very well, like he's extremely talented and skilled as well. I'm like, all right, you guys are gonna be the developers. I'll be the face, or I'll be like the guy getting in clients, because I know a ton of people who would need this, right? Like a lot of our clients, like we'll probably do 50K this month in revenue, right? Or mainly profit, because AI, it's like all we're paying for is like a couple subscriptions, right? It's like very high margins. Like we'll probably do that in the second month of business, which is this month, because I'm extremely well connected. And every single client we have is internal that I personally know in business, whether in they have a coaching program, or whether they are in e-commerce, or they have a different agency, or they just need services to like save them time and money. I could just like connect those pieces, hop on a sales call with them, close them, and then my devs take care of the builds. You know what I mean? Like those are the two companies I have, but it only came after me delegating well and, putting my employees in a position to win after 6 years. And then I started, opening up the blinders a little bit. It's like, what other opportunities do I have? I have two cousins that are extremely talented, and they have normal jobs, but like, how can we get them extra money? And if we get them extra money, I make a good amount of money too, because I have a third of that company. And then for the credit funding, it's like, all right, what role or what service isn't being met in this industry right now? And it is the funding.
Yep. Yeah, I think you hit on two things really well on that for younger and older people. For older people, you have all that because all the networking you've done the past 6 years, not online coaching, not any of that. So older people, and I have to give Miles every ounce of credit for this. Mm-hmm. When I started selling on Amazon, he came right at me, and like day 2, he's like, open social media, open a Twitter, open an Instagram. Yep. And like, if you looked at my personal Instagram, about 5 posts a year, yep. First day of school, Christmas, usually some sort of beach picture.
There it is. Yep.
I was 100% one of those people of, I'm not a social media guy. And I did that for about 3 weeks, and Miles just hammered me. And if I was like, all right, fine. Like, I'll do a social, just take a picture here. Just take a picture here and there. I started doing it. And then I was like, after 3 months in, I was looking around. I was like, hey, there's like nobody my age talking. I was like, you go on YouTube, you go on anything. It's just 25-year-olds. I was like, yep. But Miles, when I'm in your Zoom call every week, you got 40 old people in there. Or you got at least half of us are in our 40s. So I was like, okay, I'll just start a podcast and I'll just start doing it naturally. And that has made me so much money. And I definitely do not have enough people listen to the podcast where I have sponsors. I don't have a sponsor for anything. I got, I don't know, maybe 2,000 followers total. Yep. I've gotten so much free sauce from bringing huge sellers onto my podcast that have taught me a million things. I've gotten into so many free online groups that have just asked me to come in to their groups and learned a lot. And I look at it, and I look at it as, I don't know what I'm going to do in 2 or 3 years from now, but you know what? I'm just going to keep on posting and making content. I don't ever edit anything. I just throw it on there, and I'm going to keep on doing that. And you know what? In 3 years, I'll have 5,000-6,000 followers in a network. And whatever I do, I will never be an online coach. I can guarantee you that. I work with, after seeing how much work Miles has to do. And I do a weekly call and help out the Operation Amazon guys. Brad. And so I do a call for them. So I've kind of gotten behind the scenes with them, who are really in their first year or two of doing the online coaching. And I see how much work goes into the online coaching. And I was immediately like, I'm not doing that. But I don't know what else I'm going to do. Maybe I'll do consulting. Maybe I'll want to do speaking. But the networking, just by spending 15 minutes a week on it, just opened me up so much to learn so much about the business. And for you younger guys, time flies when you're young. Like when you're 18, 2 years feels like way different than from 18 to 20. Those 2 years is a lot. You're doing a lot of growing. That frontal lobe still isn't fully formed. 42 to 44, there's not much growing anymore. So it doesn't feel like that long. But, the guys that are, Clear the Shelves, Chris, that's been doing it for 20 years, like go and take a look at the guys that have been doing it for 10 plus years. And I know at 18 years old, 16 years old, that feels like a lifetime. And it is at that age. But like 3 years, I kind of look at it as like, I still consider myself practically a rookie. I'm like, until I'm 2 years in, I feel like I'm just brand new to this.
Yeah.
3 years, you got an idea, you should be making a good living. In 5 years, you're starting to really have a good grasp and master your craft. And then 10 years, you've mastered a craft. I had a business for 20 years and I could run a taxi business with my eyes closed.
Yep.
So I think, you younger guys, I get the entrepreneurship, but like I said, I was like, you got to have tunnel vision. And I think for an entrepreneur, it will always be a challenge. Like, hey, when should I tunnel vision this? And when do I open up? Like everyone started talking about Walmart. So I went over and started looking at Walmart. I'm like, oh, I got to sell stuff on Walmart. And all I did was just get shittier with selling on Amazon because I was trying to learn two things crappy.
Yep.
I was like, no, I need to just look at Walmart. If I miss out on some money and just look at Amazon. If I miss out with some money and some sales in Walmart, well, that's what it is. I'm not ready for it yet. So I think that's, a challenge, but for, the younger guys, like stick with it like a little longer until you start to really open up. And I think for you, what it is, like once you start to have some money in the bank, once you start to have some leverage is when you go to business number 2, business number 3. But first, you need to have leverage in your first business.
Absolutely. And it also comes down to like, what else are you going to have in that? Like, again, with you said, like with Walmart, it's like, I didn't even touch Walmart. I don't even have a product sold on Walmart. Like, it's because it's like I knew like I had a lot of more things to hammer on Amazon before I even moved on, and it's like I wouldn't have known that if I didn't have the good network and the good people around me, like you were talking about. Like if you guys know Amazon Jeff does 25 million a year in 08. I talk to him weekly. Steven does business, is my absolute best friend in the business. I run our stores like side by side. That guy alone, it's like it didn't take much for me to meet him. I was posting on Twitter a few times a day, and a lot of people think they need to be an educator or like some informative guy on. You don't need to be. You don't even need to share valuable information. Just share your story, and if you have momentum, people are going to feel that and know that, and they want to be part of your story. So they might hop on a free call with you, or they might give you some pointers, or hey kid, do this or do that or whatever, right? And those are like invaluable. Like again, Steven, I've met on Twitter and he was like, just so happened to be in PA. But all I was doing in the early days, you can scroll on my Twitter, 2023, 2022, 2024, whatever. I was literally like, shipments going out today. I'm at the outlet today. We spent $4,000 for the first time today. We hit our first $20,000. Like, it's nothing like, I'm not trying to like be somebody I'm not. I'm showing you my progress, right? And he was doing the exact same thing. That guy alone has made me multiple 6 figures a year in profit the last couple of years in a row, just because I met him online. I had the courage, and again, credit to Miles, right? Of just post what you're doing. Nobody cares because most people don't post and they want to be around people who are doing cool shit. That's his line, and I fully agree.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. For Amazon being such a monster, the online community is not that big.
No.
I think it's a little bigger than we think it is because I think a lot of people just look and never do anything. So there's probably more eyes on it than you think. But it's not that huge compared to what Amazon is, And yeah, that was my number one thing, and this is definitely for the older people because I think the younger people, you're so used to, posting online and stuff like that. There's a reason why a lot of the guys in Miles' program are closer to my age, because we don't know what the hell we're doing. And yeah, so I'm a big proponent of online coaching. I think of it as like school, and it prevents mistakes in the beginning. And like I quickly learned Miles' program. I was like, oh, he's there to help me for 30 days, jam everything down my throat, get me going, and then it's my job to network and start using the school, start using the people, start making friends. He put together group chats. I'm like, this is really a networking thing. Because I always wondered, like, how does Miles talk to everybody? And I was like, that's because you only need him for 30 days. And then you just stop. You don't need to talk to him every day. So it's really impressive of something. Obviously, someone like Miles, yes, he's doing it on a very large scale. But he just started posting just like I started posting, just like you started posting. And then he capitalized on that,
Yeah. Absolutely. And what you said too of like, oh, you have like a lot of people in the business. You don't really know what you're going to be doing in a couple of years. I don't either. But like one of my favorite entrepreneurs, his name's Grant Lannon. He's like on Twitter and Instagram or whatever. He said, like, we're business owners. Your insurance policy is your friends because they might be in other businesses or they might have other ideas. The same way where my reselling business was like dying or slowing down a little bit post-COVID, I had my buddy Jack. Hey, come join Amazon. we're making money here. It's going well. Like, you should definitely do it too. Now you're on to the next thing. Guess what? The skill sets carry over. Your network compounds, and if we're doing what you were supposed to in that business, you have some money to carry over to and invest and do whatever you need to. You know?
Yeah, it truly is a sustainable business, and I'm a firm believer. I'm like, listen, every RA, OA, wholesale, brand direct, private label, they all work. You can scale all of them. You can scale all of them. I didn't think Array was something you could scale until I talked to what's his name with like 13 kids and does like 12 million a year.
Harry and Kim.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
well, he put that to bed. I guess you can do it.
Yep.
I guess you can do RA on that level. He's been doing it for 12, 13 years.
Yeah.
Now, would I recommend somebody to start RA like that? Probably not.
No.
But it works for him.
It works for a lot of people. There's a guy named Jamie Jassim Vodera is like the company name that he's public with. They were doing 100 million a year, and he was on the Clear the Shelf podcast maybe a year and a half ago at this point. 100 million a year, 30 or 40% was RA in multiple states. So it's like, it's doable at every scale. It's just like, how do you, like, there's many ways to do it. It's more like what fits your skill set.
Yeah. And now you have, and crazy how fast Amazon moves or everything moves. It's probably, AI is the first thing that I can say when I started Amazon, it did exist, but it was not like we weren't using it. It wasn't part of, like, Miles never talked about it. Now I see Miles like he's constantly doing AI with guys to assist them in OA. And that is something that is growing. I think faster than we even completely understand. Maybe your cousins understand how fast it's growing. It's hard to keep up. But the power of that and the opportunity in the AI space, where I think you have grabbed onto, which I'm sure you're probably pretty good with computers, but not like your cousins, right? I would assume that it's something like a hobby of yours. You can do it. Mm-hmm. But not something you're going to sit there and start coding.
I mean, I can code. So I went to a trade. I went to a trade high school, and my major or whatever was programming and digital design. And I got second in the state of PA at coding and web development and everything on like multiple competitions. So like I knew it was a good opportunity because they do, like, they're extremely good and they're super nerds, like I said. And I'm extremely well connected, but I can also bridge the gap from the business owners that I know because I personally know them. I know their problems. I know their constraints. Put them on a call, close them, give them to my developers, and be able to communicate with both because I'm a coder at the end of the day, but I'm also a business guy too. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Because you're right. Some coders are like, all they want to do is code. They don't want to talk to another human. They just want to do their thing and leave them alone. Yeah. What are some of the Amazon, because I've started, obviously I use AI a lot to more in brand direct. I'm using AI more so not to do tasks for me, but to assist with me. I'm starting to do a lot of pitch decks. Yep. I'm starting to, every single month, any brand that I'm working with, whether exclusive or not, they are getting a sales report with how much I'm spending on advertising compared to how much their competitors are, compared to the other sellers, how many I'm selling to their selling. None of those, more so, even if I'm just doing the same numbers as everybody else selling on it, my goal is to become exclusive with every single brand that I sell. And the more I come up with excuses to contact the brand without being annoying, and like the pitch decks, the once a month, once a week newsletters, I start sending them, and AI has been able to build those for me without any effort really from myself. So, for me, I do all FBA. I don't do any FBM right now. So my back end on Amazon is very tiny. I don't need much AI for that. I don't deal with shipping. I'm brand direct. I don't have IP issues. Any brand that I'm selling, I'm in their registry. So there's a lot of OA headaches that I just don't ever have to deal with. Makes sense. There's a lot of brand direct headaches that OA guys don't have to deal with, but I don't have a lot of repetitive tasks. So it's really, AI for me is really to, how do I show value and solve problems for brands? I don't really like using the add value because you sound like a salesman, but like when I go to a brand, my first question is find out what their problems on Amazon and fix them. And if I can fix them, I'm going to be able to beat out all the other sellers. So like, I invest a lot of money into a VA. Like I have a very high level VA who I hired because she trained me. Like your OA guys, I'm sure I think with your OA, you probably won them with not any experience and mold them to what you want.
Yeah, I've never hired with experience, or if I have,
Right.
they've never worked out. Anybody I have right now, no experience, build them from the ground up because you can't teach an old dog new tricks or whatever the saying is. Like it's tough, especially if they're stuck in their ways of a different company and they have to do something
Yep.
differently. They were just doing it for 3 years. Like you want them to be trained in the way you want to do things. In addition, like you don't really know about like the competition or whatever. Maybe they're working like for you or like doing like
Hmm.
selling your leads off.
Yeah.
They're a little bit too much in the game. But if I hire them myself from like online jobs PH, I know they have no experience. They don't know anything about like selling off your leads or doing anything like that either, or working
Right.
for multiple people.
Yeah. And now in the brand direct space, because I had only been, when I flipped to brand direct, I'd only been in Amazon for 6 months. Like, I didn't know how to build listings, optimize listings. I didn't know what a flat file was. I didn't know any of those things, nor did I really want to learn those things because it would have just slowed me down.
Yeah.
So I had to go the other way and find a high-end VA because what I wanted was freedom. I want to make calls.
Yeah.
I had to make, I made the first 90 days of me doing Amazon, I made 150 phone calls a week.
Yep.
I was like, I want somebody who knows how to analyze price sheets, optimize listings, images, all the back end stuff of Amazon. So I don't have to worry about that. And I can just do sales. So I found one that was like a brand manager for a brand and already knew all those things. And she started really helping me out. So really the opposite of what you did, also a completely different job
Yeah. Yeah.
than what your guys were doing. So I think that's a method in just kind of picking where you're strong at and lean into that part of it.
Yeah. For sure.
And so now with you guys, where are you? I know that you did some work for Steven. What are you setting up basically like a full dashboard kind of like beginning to end for a business like for Amazon?
Yeah, it's literally so right now we're just doing custom projects. Like we're still newer, like maybe a month and a half in. So we're just doing custom projects, whatever you need, build outs, and then we're just building them because like my devs can do literally anything you could think of, right? So right now we're doing like a reconciliation software for somebody. It's full end to end. They pull from your email, they update with like USPS, UPS, FedEx tracking completely on its own. It'll try to match up with like the amount you ordered to the amount that arrived to the amount that actually went out from your prep center all by itself. And then it's like full portal access. So like reconciliation you can do in there. You can do proposed leads. You can do how much spend you did this month. Like there's like 20 sidebars where you can do like everything in. You'll never have to leave the software. You'll never have to use another Google Sheet. That's what one of our guys wanted, and that's what we built. Other guys maybe they want to do it themselves. We just like consult them of like, hey, this is how you do it. Do it on your own. Like so, it's like we either like done with you, or we'll do it completely ourselves, done for you. A lot of our projects are done for you, and that's like one of the Amazon examples is like the full reconciliation. If you're a big OA seller, you're probably leaking anywhere from like 0.5% to 1% a year in margin or like in revenue. Sorry, in losses. So if you're doing like I don't know, 10 mil a year, you're losing 100 grand, like point blank, unless you're chasing down every single thing. So the goal of this software is obviously to be charging a fraction of that. Still a very high ticket, but we make a lot of money from it. It takes a lot of work, but you can save 100 grand a year, or like whatever the difference is in the first year. You'll probably save 70K, 80K, whatever, and then you'll have it forever. And we just maintain it, right? Or like whatever you want. So like I have a friend that wants to do or is doing AIP at a pretty high level. He wants a custom dashboard of all the SKUs he's doing. He wants the pipeline of products he's going to invest in. He wants to know if like things are on the carousel or falling off and like where the changes is or like how much commission difference, like if there's a trend of like a new product is doing more revenue for his business or whatever than usual, it's going to let him know. There's alerts, there's everything like that. And then also like there's the creators connections or whatever. I'm learning a little bit about AIP because of this project we have to build out. But
It's
if there's
so
like
interesting to me.
yeah, so if there's like if they have creator connections where it's like there's random promotions where maybe this smaller brand wants to invest a chunk of money and give you 10% of commission of sales, there's like a big downloadable file you can like go through. We're going through it for you based off like the things that's performing well in your stores. Maybe it's like a pet supply product. We're going to pull all the pet supply products and display it to you, and you can choose from it. It'll give you the multi sold. It'll give you the ASP, because obviously if you're getting commission on 10%, you would love, same thing with Amazon, you would love high ASP, so it takes less units, but you would also want like quick volume as well, because if you can get something that's $200, sells 20,000 times a month, and you're getting 10% commission, you can print a shit ton of money. So we're building
Yeah.
out a software to like fully help people. And I like that I'm in like a lot of these businesses, or I have a lot of these friends in different businesses, because I can bridge the gap. And then once we make it once, we can make it for anybody else too. Like once,
I
yeah,
preach high ASP. I have almost completely stopped sourcing. I will do in a couple months 150 to 200K on one brand, 5 ASINs, maybe 1,000 units a month,
Jeez, that's crazy.
almost $300
Yeah, yeah,
a unit. And I realize, and I'm still far too new to be too picky. And I have
yeah,
some
yeah.
brands that are like $15 a month. And the amount of work that it takes to run my large brand with the high ASP is so little
Yep.
because the leakage is almost non-existent. If it is, it's just super easy to find,
Mm-hmm.
and nothing's getting lost. The prep is easier. Everything's easier with high ASP. The only thing you can run into that you got to test out is obviously returns. They can,
Yep.
eat you up pretty good. Returns can eat you up, with cheap stuff too.
Yeah.
So, but I've realized I'm like, oh, I love high ASP because the first thing I think of is like, all I need is two more brands like this, and I don't have to do anything.
Agreed.
A little
Yeah,
easier said
yeah.
than done.
Agreed.
But even me, I've kind of gone to. I really don't source much under $50 anymore. Like I'm like, this is kind of nice. Like I will never really need a catalog manager. Like if I can just keep doing it this way, it's just so much easier. And I'm sure that goes right across to, the Amazon influencer program too. Have you thought about, you said like, you kind of set something up for Amazon influencer program. And I'm sure you've thought of that. Is that something where like, hey, you can just kind of say, if somebody says like, hey, I'm an Amazon influencer program, could you kind of have like a one already ready saying like, hey, I made this
Yeah.
for someone. Why can't I just like a box them, like a seller amp? Like, oh,
Yeah.
you want Amazon influencer program? Here's the program, X amount of dollars or
Yeah. So
something like that.
that's what we're going to do. So for the reconciliation and for the AIP dashboard or whatever else we do, there's a common saying in like coding or development or whatever. It's like build once, deploy many. So like you build it once, like the software we're building for reconciliation is probably going to take us anywhere from like 6 to 8 weeks to close. But like once we build it, and let's say we get another customer, which we already have like 2 or 3 more in the pipeline right now, it's like it's going to take like 2 weeks. We're going to have to do an onboarding call. We're going to have to figure out what they want differently from the demo. We're going to build it. We're going to show them on another call any final changes or whatever, make those changes, hop on a third call. This is the final thing. But like all these people are also paying retainers as well, where like if they want updates every month, they're like, hey, I thought this was going to work well. It's not. Can you just get rid of it? Or can you add this instead? Or like whatever. Like that's what the retainer is for. Like it's update.
Right.
Like yeah, built
Because
once, maintain always is like the little slogan we have. So it's like we can update it to your needs as things progress.
I think that's exactly like that's what I'm waiting for. Like
Yeah,
as somebody in the business that like, yeah, I'm making a paycheck, but I'm not making anywhere near enough money where I can justify giving someone 10, 20,000, $15,000 to build something. Like I'm not there yet. I was, and that's a lot of what like the AI guys like you are doing now. I'm like,
yeah.
I can see it. I'm like, but that's not me yet. I was like, but I have seen the dashboards that people have built, and I'm like, ooh, that's nice. Like I like that.
If we ever drop a demo, you guys' draws are gonna drop because like this is like
Yeah,
the best thing I've ever seen. Like I'm not even joking, and like, it's because these guys are so good. I was involved in no coding in this or whatever, but they're just way too good at what they do, and it's like so sick and it's so custom tailored. Where it's like if you're like you can build whatever you want or like anything to
yeah,
your business. Where it's like again, we're gonna have all the code and everything set up in like its own little demo. We'll be able to copy the code, show it to you in like a demo where it's like we're not leaking or showing anybody's other information or whatever, obviously. But then it's like, all right, this is the wireframe. This is what it looks like. This is the UI. This is everything you would see in the user experience, the UX as well. It's like, what would you like to fill in here? And then you tell me, you tell
right.
us, we build in a week or two. It's fully custom to you, and it
Yeah,
allows it to be cheaper over time as well because we
it's
already built it once, right?
right.
So that's the way we're going to do it. I don't think we'll ever sell it as a software because then we would need to
No,
do like heavy distribution, and then that's a lot more work on my end instead of
no,
like
no,
high.
no.
Same thing if we were talking about high ASP. It's like you're working with less things, but you're selling more and you're getting your revenue up. It's the same thing. Well, that's kind of why we're doing custom projects as well. I don't really want to have to manage with 2 devs and myself like 100 sales calls a month. I'm not doing that.
No,
But we can manage 10 or we can manage 5 at a good price. You know
yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah, that's where it makes sense to like I think the lower sellers, and I put myself in there like, no, I can't do the 15, 20 grand, but you bring that down to 5 or 6 and show me that. Like
Yeah.
where it's a little bit more like, okay, I'll stretch a little bit, but I see that. That's where you're gonna start grabbing like the much
Yeah.
more like everyday sellers or people that aren't to that space. And you're right, a little cheaper, but you're gonna sell a lot more of them.
Yeah, for sure. Like that's the goal too. Like right now it's the custom builds, but then eventually we'll make it cheaper and cheaper over time based off having those builds already. One, maybe a little bit less custom tailored, obviously, because the ASP is different. We want to be fair to everybody, but we're
Yeah.
eventually going to niche down to like a good idea that I like. And Corey Gannum kind of made this, but I'm like, I think I'm going to sell it as a service because I'm in his program as well. It's like content bot for like info sellers, where it's just generating you information based off the transcript of your YouTube videos, your coaching calls, a RAG system to pull every single Discord message you ever sent and every answer you ever had, to give you content ideas, where it's like a big flywheel of never running out of stuff, and you don't have to think of it. It just goes in a queue, you approve it, and your content's kind of settled, at least for the written format of Twitter or emails or whatever, right? And then maybe the reconciliation thing's another thing, and then maybe like speed delete if somebody hits your inbound or whatever. Again, if this is like a agency owner, or if this is like a course seller or whatever, somebody like hits you up or gets one of your free resources, how quickly are you contacting them? How quickly are you hitting them up and like, hey, where are you at in your journey? Whatever. That matters. Speed delete is a very big thing, especially in like real estate, like what you're in right now,
Yep.
right? Or like maybe like these brand owners, whatever. They don't, if they want valuable sellers to be carrying their products, they don't want to have to wait 3 days or 6 days or a week and a half to get back the information they requested or the things they need. They want a guy who's going to be on their phone 24/7, or like at least respond within a couple hours, at least the same day at the minimum. You know what I mean? So
Minimum.
software is to like save you time, where it's like an email came to your inbound, or somebody hit your dashboard, or somebody hit whatever portal you're using. How are we drafting up a message based off what they just sent us? How are we doing that? It'll go to a queue. Obviously, it won't do that for you, but if you approve it, boom, done, right? Or maybe an AI call center. I was in Miami like two or 3 weeks ago. If you call any of these restaurants, you get hit with the AI first, where it's like, do you have any like frequently asked questions or whatever? Speak with an associate, please. And then you can go to the actual person. But a lot of times, if those businesses are closed, especially the smaller ones, where we're talking about landscaping or whatever, it's like those
Yeah.
guys are like working 9 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever, or whatever hours. They're not going to be taking calls when they're with their kids or with their like wife, or like at the dinner table or whatever. But if there's an agent doing it for you, again, if we build it once, we can sell it for $1,000 or $2,000. That's not that much. But how many businesses are in America? Millions. So we'll be all right, you know?
Yeah.
And then, like, again, AI is so cool. How are we going to get more clients or whatever? We're going to build a bot for outreach to find and
Yeah.
scrape all these businesses. Yeah.
AI, people are like, I've had friends come to me and been like, AI, they're like, I just don't know computers. I'm like, oh, no, 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 no. I was like, the less you know about computers, the
The more
more you should
helpful.
use,
Yeah.
the more, like, I'm a perfect example. Like, no, like, I've talked to the AI guys, they're like, no, as soon as I always say, I'm like, as soon as I see that black screen come up, I'm out. Like,
Yeah.
the little, as soon as I see that, I'm like, yep, 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 not for me. I was like, I can't tell you how much stuff I've done with AI. Like, even like something simple, like, with my VA, like I had a hell of a time setting up Slack. Like that's
Yeah.
where I
Yeah.
suck. Where
Yeah.
like I know it's easy for most people. And I was like, Jesus Christ, I just cannot get these channels doing the right thing. I just started talking to, at the time it wasn't even Claude, it was like ChatGPT. I just
Mhm.
started copying and pasting, and like I went down a rabbit hole, but in like 3 hours I had like my Slack set up the way I wanted it.
Yeah.
And that was like my first thing with AI. I'm like, like, that's how it works. My brother is, which is wild. My brother and I both left the workforce at the same exact time and went on our own. He went to managing Airbnbs. He actually, same as me, he's about 4 years younger than me, same as me, never did online stuff. Never, not my brother's like very quiet. He and I are dead opposite.
Yeah.
And like, but he had to start because he owns real estate like I do, Airbnb, but he got into being a co-host. And I went and like looked at his Instagram. It is wild. It is just like Amazon, like community, but Airbnb. Like
Mhm.
there's guys just like Miles, just like it. I was
Yeah.
like, I'm like, this is wild. I'm like, it's like the same thing, but AI is getting big. He started like I showed him like Corey. I was like,
Yeah.
I think you need to talk to Corey. Like,
Mhm.
he's got a VA that he has to do a lot more on online and promoting and stuff like that. And he's learning it all. And he's like, AI is really confusing. He's like, but I think I need it. I
Yeah.
was like, I think you need to have like a talk with somebody like Corey. I was like, he's not just, I'm like, Corey did Amazon. I was like, but I think he left it like the perfect time for him. I was like, because
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
AI is just, the space is
Booming right now.
infinite.
Yeah.
Like you can't even really wrap your head around like what you can do with it yet because it changes so fast. I was like, but at the rate of what it's changing, to have somebody like your company or Corey to help you out with it, because it just moves too fast for someone like me. I can't pay
Yeah.
attention to it all. I gotta sell on Amazon.
Yeah, and you just don't know what you don't know either. Like again, like there's a reason why you paid Miles for coaching, and I did too as well for like the roadmap. It's like I don't know anything I'm doing here, but somebody's dedicating their entire life or their entire time to being an expert, and they're gonna get you there quicker. Like I just bought $15,000 worth of info, like coaching, in May, but guess what? That's the reason my businesses are doing like these newer ones are like taking off so fast, and I have so many people in the CRM and the dashboards or whatever. It's because I'm paying people who are experts and been doing this for like the last 5, 10 years of like
Yeah.
these companies. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I've taken the past month. I built a new. I started using a new CRM,
Yeah.
and like my Google Sheets weren't coming over correctly. I really wanted to have every phone call that I make like summarized. And I was using Monday.com. It's a really good company. And like,
Yeah.
I was like, you know what? They had like an outside agency that's connected to them that builds it for you. It was like
Hmm.
$2,500. Took them like
Yeah.
2 weeks. It's exactly the way I want it now.
Exactly. Yep.
And I'm like, I would have taken 2 weeks to do the same thing and it would have been all fucked up.
Yep.
Nothing would have looked right. The workflow wouldn't have been good. I can't even imagine connecting the phone to it and it actually working. And they had to go into like, Zapier and make like workflows. And I was like, nope, I'm not doing any of that. Like, that's all that's going to do is make me frustrated, go down some rabbit hole, and I won't do any outreach for a week.
Makes
I was
sense.
like,
Yeah.
or give them $2,500 and tell me when it's done. Like those
Exactly.
sort of things. And
Yeah.
it was worth every penny.
Yeah. Almost all of our clients are people who tried doing it themselves and couldn't
Yeah.
figure it out. Like all but one tried doing it themselves. And like I mean, it's kind of helpful because at least give us a wireframe and at least like what they want it to look like and be able to tell us because they actively tried doing it themselves. It makes it a lot easier on our end, but it's because they couldn't connect this to that. They couldn't get it to like look the way they wanted, or they couldn't like figure out like the entire like thing of to work exactly how they needed it to in their brain out in like code or out in a software, a system for them. So that's where we come in, and it's like it makes a lot of sense. Again, like those guys, my cousins have been in like AI, not necessarily AI, but like
Yeah.
development for the last 10 years. Like it's just gonna go. In any business, I'd rather go pay somebody who's an expert at it, so I can just, hey, how do I do this? Hey, how do I do that? Hey, can you do this? Hey, can you do that for me, please? And just not worry about it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely moves. So, what's the plan for you for like what are your goals the next couple of years? How far ahead do you look? Because it is one of the hardest things to do. I remember long
Yeah.
time ago, but I remember being 22, and I've
Yeah.
always was an entrepreneur. I was always a grinder and a worker, just in a completely like different space than what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
What are your like how far out do you look? Where do you like when you start to make your goals like, hey, what do I want to do by the time I'm 24, 25?
Yeah, that's like as far as I can see, to be honest. Like the next couple of
That's
years,
all
like I
you need
can't
to
really
know.
do part like
Yep.
past that in my head. Like it's so hard for me, except for like the investing part where I need to put away this amount of money to get this amount of money by the time I'm 30, 40 years old. That's the only thing I can see past that, to be honest. But other than that, my only focus is like honestly just like doubling every year. Like that's all I've
That's it.
done for like the last couple of years. Like I did 500,000 on StockX Go and eBay one year, Amazon 900K in the first calendar year, 1.7 the next, 3.2 the next. This year, ideally over 6 million just to keep the double going. And I've doubled my profit minimum every single year as well. If I can just do that for as long as humanly possible, I'll be in a good spot, obviously. And that's all I kind of want to do. Obviously, you might get to a point in Amazon specifically where you can't do that, but I want to do it as long as I can and just year over year growth is all I really want. And as opportunities come up or as things make more sense and become clear to me, like then we can, push forward. Like with the AI agency, I have two cousins that are devs. I have a big programming background and a lot of business friends. It's just like it's seamless and it makes sense. Same with the credit funding. It's like I know a lot of Amazon sellers. I have a lot of like friends who are group owners where they can refer me a lot of clients and a lot of business. They get kickback, obviously, but like it's not going to be that much more work on my end. I'm going to know what I have to know what like I have to fulfill for the clients. Obviously, that's the most important thing. But in terms of client acquisition, that's typically the hardest for a lot of companies. A lot of that's
Mm-hmm.
covered if, as long as I'm like more than willing to make content, which I am. And then I already built a network
Word
of
of
all these.
mouth.
Yeah, yeah,
That is something that has not changed from being old school brick and mortar to you would think it would go away in like e-commerce, and like it doesn't. Absolutely every single thing that I've bought has been told to me from a friend, somebody like you or Miles or Brad and Brand, my ad
yeah,
agency.
yeah,
I used who Brad and Brandon used. They were like, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. We used 3 or 4 of them, and and until we found this ad agency, we've been using them for 2 years. We never need another one.
yep,
Like they're fantastic. So I knew because oh my god, there's so many ad agencies. Like it'll make your head spin. So I knew right away. I didn't have to shop around. I was like, it works for them. They're doing 500-600K a month, and they
yeah,
tried out a bunch of crappy ones. Like, and they're fantastic. Like
yeah,
my
and
accounting software, they're like, hey, use ConnectBooks. We use that. We use 3 or 4 others. Like, we can go to 2 million a month if we wanted to with this. I'm like, great. I don't want to have to keep on buying program after program and relearn it. Same with the coaching. Like, if I learned and I heard through some friends, like Miles was good. Like it is all networking and it's still word of mouth. Like it doesn't change. And
yeah,
especially with like the credit card thing, it's all about trust because you giving people like you're trusting people are trusting you with finances. And that
Hmm.
gets, that I would think would become really hard to, acquire people from nothing
Hmm.
in order to trust that. But if you can start put together like case studies and stuff
Yeah,
like that
yeah.
from friends, like that's the kind of stuff that, that works.
Yeah, proof, and then people spending time with me with content. Like what you just mentioned of like the ad agency. It's like, dude, you could either just ask Brad or waste a bunch of time and money, and 2 years later, and then you finally stumble across the one you're at now. You know what I mean? Like network and people and word of mouth is like everything. Like
Yeah,
everything.
it is everything. And that is one thing that I've noticed. I'm like, okay, that doesn't change. I'm like, instead of me just knowing guys around town, it's just me knowing guys around the internet and
Yeah.
being experts in their space. And like, I always say, I was like, with business people ask me, I was like, I want to put in 2 really hard years. I'm 1 year into wholesale, so I don't even count my first 6 months in
Yeah.
OA. I was like, I had to make money within a year. I was able to take a paycheck. I was like, and within 2 years, I want to be at 300K a month and be able to start. And I can tell, like, I can see where I am now with the big brand I'm working with. I had to stop doing reach out because I had to spend like over 100 grand. And I was like, okay, I need to see this money like
Yeah. Yeah.
circle through and like before I actually go out and spend more money and make sure this works, which it did. But I was like, okay, so I'm not going to source. And as soon as I stopped sourcing, I was like, oh, I'm only working like 15 hours a week.
Yeah.
I was like,
Yep.
so like once I get to like where I am and just do my follow ups, I was like, I can see like me starting to buy my time back and like what my goal is and decide what I want to do next. I'm gonna do something next. I'm not going to I'll do brand direct, but I'm going to do something. I might consult. I want to start investing in like small businesses is like, think
Yep.
like what my goal is going to be. I want to
Yeah.
invest in like, I've even thought of like even starting like, cause I know a lot of people with money,
Hmm.
start doing like a small venture capital and only invest in like people under 25 and like young entrepreneurs and stuff like that because they just know the space so much better than us old fucks.
Oh man. No, that would be super cool, man. Like that's amazing. And it's like my friend Nick Spizak, who's Corey's partner in the AI
Yes.
company.
Yeah.
We're both in PA, and he took me to like a networking event for like a lot of real estate guys, a lot of brick and mortar guys, like older school business. But he brought me along as like his plus one or whatever, because like they want to talk to younger guys, where it's like you might
Yeah.
see things a little bit differently. Because I grew up with a cell phone, or I grew up with AI, or I grew up with this, or grew up with like online e-commerce money or whatever. You know what I mean? And they're trying to like catch up a little bit or like trying to get like a different perspective versus like the normal guys they talk to on a daily basis. So it makes total sense, to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. And then like that's how people grow like
Yeah.
in business is not to stay. I mean, and I'm super vigilant about my business went away or the industry of the taxi business went away because it didn't evolve. It's
Yeah.
the whole reason. It was not unionized. There was no like there was all the taxi drivers, all they did was fight, and
Hmm.
it made this massive vacuum for Uber and Lyft. Uber and Lyft came in and that vacuum was there and it took the taxi business and they couldn't move fast enough in order to implement what they needed to and the entire industry disappeared and it was because of stubborn owners who didn't want to network. It is literally the reason why the taxi business went away because all
Yeah.
taxi businesses do is fight with each other and I
Hmm.
mean literally fist to fist. Sometimes they don't
Yeah.
get along and because of that Uber and Lyft were able to do what they were able to do because of not evolving and not networking and it was the whole reason why the business went away. So when I came into like the Amazon space, like one of the first things I was doing is keep your head on a swivel, don't repeat what you did before, or not necessarily me, but just like
The
the
industry.
industry
Yeah.
the industry in general. And know what you know and what you don't know, ask for help. And I think that's a lot of what this is. So yes, Sadiq, thanks for coming on today. This was fantastic. I think people are going to, especially the funding part, and I think you've also done the funding part to really streamline yourself. You're not fixing credit. That's
Nope.
not what you do. You're not looking to fix credit. You are looking to have somebody already with established credit. And, like I was someone with like established credit, but I had never used points. I had never really, no. I did use credit cards, not anywhere to the level of Amazon. So I didn't really understand like, I never really had high limits on my credit cards. I never
Yeah.
used them enough to have high limits. So I didn't really understand. I'm like, what do you mean? I have an 800 credit score. Like, I can get whatever you want. You actually can't when you want
No.
to. Like,
Yeah.
you need to time things. So even I had to learn about like stuff like that. So yeah, you are not fixing credit. You're not in the business of that. That sounds like a way more work. So that
A lot more work, and it doesn't align with my story either. Like I was a guy doing like 20, 25K a month in revenue on Amazon. I got stuck there for 4 months in 2023, the first 4 months of 2023. And then one day, I was doing some research online on Twitter or whatever. Again, some business owners listen to younger guys to get a different perspective. I was listening to older guys. I was like, I have
Mhm.
no idea what the fuck business credit is. I'm 19 years old. Like, so I was like, all right, this is what we do. Amex is like the best with like limits right now because like they were being aggressive in 2023 in terms of lending. And I'm like,
Yes.
all right. Went to them, got $100,000 on my Plum card, got $10,000 on my 0% APR Blue business card. I got $110,000 in the same day to go scale my company. And then we went from 25K a month in revenue all the way up to $100,000 a month in revenue within like 4 or 5 months, and then 200K a month in revenue 8 months after I got business funding. It's literally all I needed. I had the network in place. I had all the leads. I had a VA at the time. I had everything I needed except for enough money to buy the product. So that's why I believe in it so much, and I know I can help other people as well.
Do you think that was the most important day in your business? Like, do you have a day that you're just like, I know I do. Like,
Yeah.
do you have a day where like the light went off and you're like, stuff just got serious?
Yes, it was that day because I got the Plum card and I was doing a lot of retail arbitrage FBM.
I
I'm
missed
like,
that card.
if I could just like keep like I have $100,000 limits. I didn't even have $100,000 in the business, but I knew if like I was being smart about it and I was like I knew what I was doing. It was very profitable, literally 20+% net margin because I was getting like RA, FBM, and then I was like getting like employee discounts and everything. Like my margin was stupid. I'm like, I just need more money so I can make a crazy amount of money. And then that day in March of 2023, I don't know exactly what day it was, but March of 2023, I got both those cards on the same day. I'm like, I'm hitting the outlets every single day with all of my boys so we can buy as much like as humanly possible. And again, within 4 months, because like it takes time to like cycle through the inventory, obviously send to Amazon, whatever, get the profits, keep reinvesting, and like get comfortable spending a lot of money on a credit card.
Yeah.
Within 4 or 5 months, I get my first 6-figure revenue month, and then I did around like 14K net profit as a 19-year-old.
Yeah. Yeah. I think everyone that's been in this business that is successful in it, we all have a day or two where it's just like mine was either, I remember it, and it was wild. Like Brad told me on a call, he was like, hey, start looking for like, don't be afraid of like high price stuff. Like source that stuff and call. And I was like, okay. And like the next day, the brand that I'm exclusive with now, the next day, the first phone call I called a brand on for over $100 is the brand that I'm exclusive now. And it was like, I bought 20 and sent it in. And before they were in, and I didn't really understand how to read Keep It charts all that well. And it was like sold 100 a month and 22 FBM sellers on there.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand coming in FBA. Like I grabbed the buy box and sold 20 like that.
Yeah.
And I did $6,000 in one day. And I was only at like 30K.
Yeah.
And I just went, and I did it by like noon. And I just remember like looking at my Seller Central and just like jumped out of my chair and I just went, holy shit.
Yeah.
And I just started doubling down. My first order was $4,000. The order I put in last week was 122,000. And I scaled this brand. And my second day was the brand called me and I increased their sales by so much that they triggered Keepa alerts everywhere. And they were getting 60 phone calls a day from Amazon. And the brand office manager, who was basically the owner, called me and she was like, what did you do to my Amazon? And I was like, because they had no interest in Amazon.
Yeah.
Shit listings, don't care who sells on it, no map, like red flags everywhere.
Yeah. Everywhere.
And they were just like, she was like, you spend money with us. I like you because I've also made best friends with this woman. Yep. And she was like, how do I kick every seller off and just sell to you? And I remember just like looking at my phone and being like, we have to put transparency on it because they sold to too many distributors. And she was like, can you just do it for me? And which is all stuff I tried to sell to her and she didn't want to hear until that happened. Yep. And within 4 months we were, I could stop and not do anything but this brand. I've thought about it. Yeah. But it's a little too risky. And I have too much fun. Like, what the hell else am I going to do? I'm a workaholic, For sure. So I think I always like to ask, because I think everybody has like a day or two. If you've been doing this for 2-3 years, everyone's got a day or two where like the light bulb went off, where you're like, this is going to work. Like now I see like the path. And like, that was me. Like, I was like, okay, this is the path, higher sale price, make friends, become exclusive, and like I don't have to look at a reprice or I don't have to look at anything, So completely different in OA, but it doesn't matter what it is. It's just that little light bulb that goes off,
Yeah. Because I was running the reselling business for like 2 or 3 years, StockX Code, eBay, all debit, all cash. Ran the first year of Amazon, or like maybe like 9 months or whatever, all cash. I've been on multiple podcasts, like even before I had the credit funding company. What's the biggest mistake you made, or that you could tell? I didn't get business
Yes.
funding soon enough when I knew I had a crazy profitable business and I knew everything I was doing. The business was 4 years deep. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the number one thing because I run a sales call every week for the Operation Amazon guys, and I always say
Yeah.
like I was like, hey, my sales call is for how to talk to brands.
Yeah.
Don't ask me technical questions about Amazon. Don't ask me. I don't know any of that stuff. I don't want to know any of that. I don't know how to do a flat file. I don't know how to optimize a listing. I don't know how to. I don't want to know how to do that.
Hmm.
I was like, I know how to talk to people. I know how to talk to brands. I know how to close. I was like,
Yep.
I can close. If I can get a brand to listen to me, I'm going to close them.
Yeah.
I was like, because I lean into like what I'm really good at. And I tell people, I was like, don't start with too much money. I was like, but you need to have a plan with way you can go as fast as you want because it's such instant gratification. I was
Yeah.
like, with wholesale, it's not going to start overnight. You got time to get money. I was like, but what you want is to have a plan. Get a credit line. You don't have to use it yet because wholesale and brand direct credit card is probably 50-50. Can't always use it. So it's not always there, but I'm like, you need to have a plan. I was like, because what you don't want, and a perfect example for me is I had my funding in place. What you don't want is to put a $3,000 test order in, have it set on fire, and not have the funding to keep following it. I was like, I was like, because I am well aware that I had a little bit of luck finding that brand, but if I didn't have my funding set up, I would have missed that opportunity. And it is still hard to get brands like that. You don't want to miss an opportunity. And I think that, that can go for OA and RA also. But I tell people in the beginning, I was like, it's fine if, you can start wholesale with $5,000, but have a plan for 50 and 100 grand ready. Because as you start to scale, you want to be prepared for that. I think that's one of the quickest things. Because some people, I think, get into Amazon and don't really understand how much money it's going to take.
No, they don't. I didn't.
They
either.
do not.
Like, to be fair, I did not know at all of like guys like Thousand Asins or like whoever. It's like, dude, you don't understand how many millions of dollars are at in inventory at the moment just to put up those crazy numbers, right? And it's like it's unbelievable. And like you said, for brand direct, you want to have the funding in place. For OA too, it's like if I come across a sale where there's crazy profitable inventory, but I don't have any money to buy it, that doesn't help me. And like
that'll make you freak out.
Yeah,
that's like an oh shit moment.
Mm-hmm. My opportunity cost could be like 10, 20, 30, $50,000 in profit, potential profit that I just lost because I didn't have enough money. Like I realized that and I'm like, all right, there's two ways I could lose money and I need to have funding at all times. It's like that. The first one of like coming across a crazy good sale, but you have no money. It's like the most painful thing ever. And then the other thing is, okay, you have good working SKUs, and this will apply to brand direct as well or wholesale, but you have good working SKUs. You know what's working. You know what's working well. You're on the listings every single month. Do you have enough money to restock them? Because every single day you're out of stock, you have an opportunity cost of not being in stock. So your revenue plummets, your profit plummets. And it's like, imagine if you were able to keep all your replens, all your brands in stock 24/7 at the levels you want. For me, at least in arbitrage, I would double my profits, like for sure, at least from like last year to this year.
Yeah. And I think that's an issue, not just for, I understand it more with younger people because they just don't understand the business yet. It is unbelievable the amount of people my age and I think not business owners. I think they probably come from more of a corporate hourly job. And they're just like, I was like, listen, if you want to make 100, you have to make 100 grand just to pay yourself.
Yeah.
Probably more, but to do it comfortably, it's definitely more. I mean, you want to not pay yourself as long as you can. I was like, but I mean, if you want to make 100 grand, do you need 50 or 60? I mean, you probably need more, but you need at least 50 or 60. And that's going with 100% ROI. You're going to probably need 65 to 70. So if that's not in your realm of possibility, you got to go find something else to do. Yeah. If you wanted to, I mean, really a small business, I look at it as a small business would be 200 to 300K a month for one person. Yeah. Where I think I would want to be. I say that I'll probably go higher if I have the opportunity. But you're gonna need 6 figures in the bank to do it. And you're going to have to learn, and that's just the way it is. And you're going to have to learn a lot about cash flow management. And you're going to have to hire a bookkeeper. Like that was one of the first things I had to do early on is hire a bookkeeper before I was ready for one, like financially, because it was like numbers aren't my thing. But I knew, I was like, I need to know what I have on cash on hand. I need to know this is a good opportunity. Do I have 20K? It looks like I do. It doesn't look like I do, but I really do.
Yeah.
So, and I think, those are all, I think, problems a little bit down the road, but I think people need to kind of understand that when they're getting into the business. Like there is no magic ASIN that is just going to print money for you without investing in it. You have to keep on buying it. So, but Sadiq, thanks for coming on today. I think you definitely gave a good insight of, young people aren't living in their parents' basement.
Yeah, I appreciate you for having me, man. This was awesome.
Yeah, no, it was great. It was great. And yeah, guys, until next time, we actually have, we got more young people coming on. I'm bringing a guy named Chris on next week who Miles just interviewed. I saw him on
Yeah,
it
yeah.
last week. He went to college to be an astrophysicist.
I did
And
not know that. Okay.
yes, so he went to college to be an astrophysicist and ended up selling on Amazon. And all he did was post. He has never done any social media. All he did for the past 3 years is post his orange bars.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And now he's getting into like wanting to network a little bit. So I'm going to have him on next week. And I think he's like listening to him with Miles. I think he's like super nerd, which
Yeah,
is super
yeah.
impressive. He built an entire AI for his system too. So I'm excited to have him on. But yeah, so guys, until next time, I will make sure that I link all of Sadiq's like social media and what he has going on in the links below. And make sure you like and subscribe. And until next time, we will see you guys later.